Filling a raised bed with premium soil doesn't have to cost a fortune. Here's how I build a rich, well-draining mix for under 25 bucks. First, I've got this 2x4 by 1 foot bed. It's more or less leveled in place, and I've already dug out the grass and removed the weed barrier that was underneath these rocks. So it's exposed to the soil and ready to go. I need 2 ingredients that my buddy Rusty here is helping me out with. I've got topsoil, I've got compost, and then one other magic ingredient for this mix is super coarse perlite. So it's just those 3 things. I'm gonna go for about 45% topsoil, 45% compost, and 10% perlite. To get started, it's really simple. I always start with my topsoil first. So I'm gonna drop 2 bags worth of topsoil into this bed and get it spread out evenly so that I've got a nice base to work with. This helps ensure that I've got some soil to soil contact, and even though I didn't go overboard removing rocks and things from the bottom of this bed, that soil will start to intermix with what's underneath it naturally with the earth. On top of this, I'm gonna go ahead and layer in my perlite. I like to put this in the middle layer because it helps gauge how well mixed up my soil is. I use a super coarse perlite because it's got bigger particulate size that I think works better in a raised bed. I hit it with some water to make sure that it is not as dusty as it could be, and it also helps ensure that I've got a good amount of moisture in the bottom part of this bed to get started. And that perlite's going to be my key indicator to know whether or not my soil is fully mixed, and so on top of that, I'm going to layer in my compost. I've got 2 bags of compost, so in this case, I'm putting in basically 3 cubic feet of each material, plus a visual guesstimation with my perlite. Mixing this all together, I am constantly adding water and turning and turning and turning to make sure that there is a good mixture of topsoil, compost, and perlite, and it's all evenly moistened. The key to this mix is really just making sure that you're giving your plants plenty of organic matter from the compost, as well as some soil that's ideally relatively native. I get these ones from the store that are all made in my state here of Colorado. So this is topsoil from my state, this is compost from my state, and this is also perlite that I truck in from, I don't remember where. So the only thing that's not from Colorado or my state is perlite. That's okay, it's just there to add drainage and aeration. Once this is starting to get really well mixed, I'm feeling pretty good about it, but I need to add a little bit more topsoil across the top just to be sure that everything is as full up in this bed as I want it to be, leaving a little bit of space knowing I'm gonna put some mulch on here. So I'll leave about 1 inch at the top to cover that mulch area. A lot of people will go to the big box store and buy raised bed soil mix in bags, and that's okay, but this is better bang for your buck. Just to lay this out, each of these bags of topsoil was about $3 at my local Lowe's, and each of these bags of compost was about $6 at my local Lowe's. So between 2 bags of topsoil, 2 bags of compost, right now I'm in for about $18. I ended up using a little bit more of that topsoil, so let's push that up to maybe $20 total. And then that perlite, I buy it in bulk, so this huge like 4 cubic feet bag was something like $32. So when I break it down to how much I actually used, we're talking about a couple dollars worth of perlite. So at that point, I'm less than $25 into this bed, and I've got a really nice soil mixture that is going to be good for growing vegetables, it's going to be good for growing flowers, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to grow actually both flowers and vegetables in this bed. This is one extra tip just that I always use, and that is to super hydrate your soil that first fill. If you don't have moisture all the way throughout this bed, you're going to be creating dead zones, areas where the roots really aren't going to be able to do their business and interact with all of that great organic material and microbes that you just added with the compost. So making sure this is super wet up front before I'm going to fill it with plants is actually a really good step. I wouldn't want to keep it this wet once I have plants in it, but just to get it started, I want it to be super moist. I'm going to be putting a tomato and a couple of basil plants in this bed, as well as these wonderful hollyhocks that I've already got started. So that's all I'm putting in for today now that it's dried out a little bit. It's looking great. Once the tomatoes and basil are hardened off and ready to go in, they'll be in here, and this bed is going to do great for years. So $25 worth of materials. The bed itself I got for less than $15 because Listen, folks, shop on Amazon, shop on slickdeals.net at the end of the garden season for raised bed deals, and you will get them for pennies on the dollar. Pro tip. I'm super happy with how this turned out. I've got one more raised bed to fill up this season to kind of complete my yard, and I've got the materials to do it, and it's going to cost me not that much for years and years of a great growing area. If you like this video, please remember to hit subscribe, hit thumbs up, and as always, plants help us grow.